As you can see, we have a Jim, but not a Jimmy.
A fill-in.
He's a fill-in. Not a felon. A fill-in.
No.
Almost a felon.
Could be.
Because my dad, with the tax
Yeah.
evasion, he could have been a felon, but he's not. Anyway, if you've been watching my daily vlog, you know that I'm a little bit under the weather since last Thursday. Jimmy's also a little bit under the weather. I think that Jimmy got me sick, but Jimmy's saying I got him sick, so we don't know. So obviously he's not going to be here today. So we got Jim as a substitute.
Who is not sick?
Yeah, Jim's not sick yet. But let's hope you don't get sick.
No.
But because tell us how do you make yourself feel better when you're sick?
You go.
And he does. That's what he does. He sits in the chair and just goes, could you get me a glass of water? So we don't need 10 days of that.
No.
So we want him to get better. He's just getting anxious to get his stitches out on Thursday.
Yeah, so I can go driving.
His car went into sleep mode. It wouldn't start for him this day.
I didn't know it did that.
He has an automatic start and it wouldn't start. He had to go out and actually physically start it. But enough of that. We usually do Tag Tuesdays, and it's no secret that a lot of us communicate between each other and we send each other the questions ahead of time. And so Tracy at Trials of a Long-Haired Girl, who started this back in March of 2020, came up with an idea that we call it a No Tag Tuesday. And in the description box down below, we're going to have the list of all the channels that normally do the tags. So if you want to go into the list down below and go over to their channel to see if they've done the tag. We're going to alternate weeks. Joan's going to do some questions, Joan and Doug. Kim and Mr. Smooth, Jimmy and myself. Mr. and Mrs. Chaos, which is Jen and Steve. And Recipes with Roy. I think that's all that's doing it. So they're going to alternate. We're going to alternate weeks, and so you'll get a different variety of questions. Who knows what they're going to be each week. But this week, Tracy over at Trials of a Long-Haired Girl came up with the questions. Next week is Kim and Mr. Smooth. They're going to come up with them. But with that being said, you ready, Jim?
Oh, can't hardly wait.
Number one, what was the single best thing that happened this past year?
The single best thing that happened this year. I don't know. Maybe my Christmas present from you.
Yes. Yes, he did. He was very surprised. I
Yeah.
went through a lot of effort to get that. I got Jim a .22 rifle
Yes.
that he wouldn't have bought for himself.
No, a Henry 22.
Yeah, he said he wouldn't have bought it for himself. But he likes it.
Oh, I like it. I wouldn't have spent that much money myself.
Yeah, but Jim always buys a lot of nice things for me. So I think over the years it's kind of like paid you back. I think the single best thing that happened this past year was the vaccine.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I really do, because even though I have a cold, it's just because I was with my family and my friends and out to the show, to restaurants and just being able to live my life again. And, people get sick no matter what, whether they're, whatever. But I think the vaccine was the best thing that happened this past year. Although it really didn't happen this year, I have to give it credit to President Trump, because he's the one that really came up with it, but President Biden is the one that's kind of gotten it moving along. So I think the combination of the both, I give them both credit for it. Number two, what was the single most challenging thing that happened?
The challenging thing. Not driving for
I was
3
going to
weeks.
say that. That's challenging. To me too, because I'm the chauffeur then. And like Jim likes to make his doctor's appointments early. So we have to get up early to go to the doctors. You don't usually wait that much when we go in your early appointments, because we're like the first appointment of the day.
Right, because they can't tell you they're running behind if you're the first one.
Yeah, but then you got to get up and go and all that. To me, the single most challenging thing that happened to me this year was staying on plan. I gained weight for 2021. I was trying to lose weight during Christmas to from Thanksgiving to New Year's Day, and I ended up, I gained 7 pounds, which is like almost a little bit over a pound a week. But I had a good time, so I can't really
Better
complain.
have.
Yeah, for gaining 7 pounds. But I'm back on track now. I've been very good for the last couple days. So number 4, what was an unexpected obstacle?
I don't know that I really had one.
I don't think I really had an unexpected obstacle myself.
I mean, if you want to count not being able to drive, but that's an obstacle for me.
That's not for me. That is not for me. I don't know, an unexpected obstacle for me would have been. Just at the beginning, the obstacle at the beginning of 2021 is still not being able to be with family until we were vaccinated. That's an obstacle for me because I like to have my family around, and I miss having them over every week. So that was an obstacle for me. Pick 3 words to describe this past year.
Boring, boring, boring.
Because Jim couldn't go. He goes to the gym a lot. You did do it a few times, but not as much as you normally do.
Right.
He usually goes to the shooting range or to the club. You didn't do that.
Usually go out west.
He usually goes out west.
Didn't do
You
that.
didn't do that. So Jim didn't get a vacation this year, which I got a vacation. My 3 words to describe this past year were boring, because I really do think I love Jim, but you know what?
Yeah.
We've been together for what, 54 years, 55 years come the 18th.
There you go.
55 years, and so we kind of know what each other thinks. We say things at the same time. Like I said, like we said on our one tag a couple weeks ago, we think so much alike that we even buy each other the same kind of presents.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but he's never going to buy me a gun.
No.
So, but my 3 words would be boring. Discouraging, because I gained weight, so I would say discouraged. But then also hopeful, because I'm hopeful that the year's gonna. I was at the end of the year. I got a little bit more hopeful with having my family and friends around. Number 6, what were the best books you read this year?
I do not read books.
No.
I wait for the movie to come out.
Yes, we always have to watch. Is it a true story?
Yes.
If it's a true story, we're definitely going to watch it. If it's a true story. I've read so many books, I can't even tell you the names of any of the books. I really, because once I read a book, although I did like by Stephen King, the Billy Summers. I did like Billy Summers, which I sent on over to Recipes with Roy, because I like to pay it forward with my books. That's why I usually drop them off at the library. There was another book that I really liked that I recommended to you guys, but I can't remember the name of it. But if I think of them, I'll put them here, but I can't remember. I mean, I read, how many books do you think a week? 2 or 3 a week?
Oh, I would think so.
I read at least 2 or 3 books a week, and so times 52, that means I read like 150 books last year, so I'm not, kind of hard to pick one. Number 7, who were your most valuable relationships with?
Well, with you
Well, I was hoping you'd say that.
and my kids.
Yes, I would say the same thing. My grandkids too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just that year that we were apart. They grew up so fast, so that when they come over now, it's like I forget that they're not like a year younger than
They're big people.
they're not like little kids anymore. It's just kind of, in a way, kind of sad because we missed a whole year of them growing up. So, number 8, what was your biggest personal change from January to December of this past year?
What was my biggest?
Personal change.
Well, it wasn't losing weight.
No.
I don't know.
We did get him to eat a few vegetables. That's
Yes,
a pretty good challenge.
I ate a couple vegetables.
Not too many. My biggest personal change was that I gained weight, and that's not a good personal change, but it's the personal change that I had. I gained too much weight for 2021. Number 9, what was the most challenging part of your work, both professionally and at home? We're retired,
Yeah, we're retired.
so
But I mean, when I was working, the most challenging part was that I did sprinklers for fire protection, and all of the work is in the air. So there were times I was working like 20 feet in the air, and there were times I was working 75, 80 feet up in the air. So it gets a little scary.
Which is probably about, what do you think, the second rung on the ladder is what, about 3 feet above the...
No, about 2 feet.
2 feet, yeah, it's about 2 feet is about the highest I can go. The most challenging part of my work when I worked was, I guess the most challenging part of my part of the work was trying to get to work on time. I started work at 6 o'clock. I used to punch in like at 6 o'clock, maybe 6:01. Whereas Jim, when he started at 7, he was on the job
By 6:30.
Yeah.
Or I was late.
Yeah, or he was late. But mine would have been and I think one of the other things that was the most challenging part of my job was it used to drive me crazy because at the end, before I retired, the job there wasn't as much work to keep us busy. So I would start at 6 and I worked till 3, and I took a half-hour lunch. We would have all of our work done no matter how slow we went, like at 10 o'clock in the morning. And so we were going to get paid no matter what, and I didn't understand why we had to stay there till 3 o'clock. We didn't punch a clock, or like we just signed in on a timesheet that our manager signed off on. And the most challenging part of my job was the fact that, I hate to say we didn't have a really good, I mean, I don't know, I don't want to say he wasn't a good boss, but he wasn't very inspiring, because like he would come in about 10 o'clock, and then at 11 o'clock would go on his lunch, and he would come back at 1 o'clock, and then he would leave at 1:30 for the day. I mean, if you can get that kind of a job and get paid for it, I guess that's okay. But my thought was that when we were done at 10 o'clock, rather than make us sit around and do nothing, we read books, we played games, we watched television. He could have just let us go home. So the challenging part of my job at that point was keeping my mouth shut, so I didn't lose my job.
No, but he was doing his job, keeping you there.
I guess. And number 10, what was the biggest thing you learned this past year?
What was the biggest thing I learned this past year? I wouldn't know, actually.
I know it's kind of, not so much this year, but in 2022 is, I love Jim, and we've been in love for a long time. We really have. But I think that the biggest thing I learned was I learned about you again. It's just like we were more in sync, and we did our puzzles together. We spent a lot of times together, obviously. And sometimes that's either going to make you or break you, and I think that it made us better. I think it made us stronger, and I think it made our marriage stronger, too.
Yeah, because we were forced to do things
Together in the house.
more than we normally
Yeah,
would.
because maybe that's the secret to why we lasted so long, is because we have our own money, we have our own hobbies, we take our own vacations. We do take a vacation together, once a year we take, well, we didn't in 2020 or 2021. But we always take at least a week together. And so when we were forced to sit at the table and eat dinner together, because Jim works afternoons, and so we made dinner every night. So we had dinner every night and picked up the habit, which I think is a good habit. It was like I would cook the meals and then Jim would clean up afterwards. So I like that part of it.
Well, that is putting the stuff in the fridge and putting the dirty dishes on the counter.
It helps. It does help. Because you know what? I have a system anyhow. And
Yeah.
we both have our own system, because mine is, what's my system?
I didn't know that you had one.
Good enough.
Oh, no, that was my mother's least favorite phrase. She would get so upset when I do something and I would say good enough, and she would just go ballistic. It's not good enough. If it's not done right, it's not good enough.
And that's been
Yeah, it's good enough.
that's my philosophy. My whole life was good enough. What's been your philosophy? Jim is very organized. I'm not organized. He's very precise. I'm not precise. When we put our Christmas decorations away, it's just easier now for me to have Jim put the village back in the box the right way.
Oh, because she can't figure out how to.
And then I get mad, and then I just shove it in the box. And so in the past, I have broken pieces off that Jim's had to glue because I have no patience. And he doesn't like the way I do the lights.
Or wrap up a cord.
Yeah, he doesn't like any of that. And what do I always say?
Good enough.
So, okay, once again, Tracy, thank you for coming up with the questions. Thank you, Jim, for filling in for Jimmy. Hopefully he'll be here next week.
Hopefully.
He went to work at the house today, so he could have came today, my thinking.
But he was sick.
But he was sick, and I don't want to get sicker. So, but look in the description box down below. I'll have a link. I'll have the links to all the channels that are participating in our new No Tag Tuesday. And I'll try to remember to put the questions down if you want to answer the questions, because I'm kind of curious what your answers will be. And Tracy, thank you for coming up with the questions, and I look forward to seeing what Kim and Mr. Smooth come up with next week. I have a feeling that none of them are going to be memory questions because they don't have really good memories. And they say that. I'm not ratting them out or anything. But Jimmy was kind of bummed, Kim, that he couldn't tag you and Mr. Smooth. That's the only part he doesn't like about the No Tag Tuesdays. So don't be surprised if Jimmy still tags you every week, whether you want to be tagged or not. So, but if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, leave a comment, hit the like button, share it if you think somebody might like to see it.
And mimeograph.
That's his favorite saying. So I'll talk to you guys on my daily vlog.